Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Pink Elephant. I am Shanay, and if this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining me. And if you're back again, thank you so much. I love you for it. Okay, so I realized that it's been a while since I've done a get to know me type of video or a post, and I feel like I've connected with so many people over the last year. So I think it'll be dope to kind of just give some background on who I am. I know I share a lot of posts and I talk to you guys on TikTok and on Instagram and on Facebook. So it'll be kind of cool to just kind of know who I am behind the scenes. But before we start, if you are not following me on Instagram and on TikTok, please do so. I am almost at 1,000 followers on TikTok, y'all, and I'm so excited. I think I'm sitting at 776. So I really would like to get to 1,000 followers before June. So if you're not already, make sure you go over and follow me there, and I'll make sure I follow you back. Okay. And then you can find me at Shanay Pringle on Facebook. Okay. So let's get into it. I'm just going to give you guys a little background on who I am, starting from high school, and then we'll kind of go into present day. All right. So first and foremost, I was born in Charlotte, North Carolina. I actually grew up in Charlotte. I know a lot of people have moved to Charlotte in recent years, especially after college. Everybody moved to Charlotte. And I actually moved from Charlotte. So I grew up in Charlotte, born and raised. I actually attended West Meck High School. So shout out to all my West Meck Hawks. If you went to West Charlotte, sorry. If you went to Harding, sorry. Very sorry. Okay. Wydale, sorrier. But anyway, went to West Meck. West Meck was a very interesting experience. I met so many great people at West Meck. I had such a great friend group, and I had a lot of good experiences at West Meck. Now, but West Meck was rowdy. Okay. If you went to West Meck, then you know that it was a little off the chain. Okay. It was a lot of riots, a lot of fights. It was a lot. So shout out to Charity Bell. She was the principal at West Meck at the time that I attended, and she did a great job of trying to reel that school in. Okay. She reeled us in. She did a good job of trying to turn that school around. It was giving lean on me. It was giving lean on me vibes, but she did a great job of trying to get that school back on track. So anyway, West Meck was what it was. Had a great experience in high school. Would I do some things differently? Of course. Can I look back now and realize who that Shanay was? Absolutely. I can see where things kind of, weren't, how I was feeling, and maybe some lack of confidence, some things like that. Of course. But overall, I had a great experience in high school. All right. While at West Meck, I had the opportunity to be a part of the TRIO program. Now, this is going somewhere because I'm about to tell you about college, okay? The TRIO program was designed to expose high school students to college and to think about post-high school graduation plans. And so because of TRIO, we were able to go on a lot of college tours. At the time, our TRIO counselor, her name was Tracy Westbrook. Shout out to Miss Tracy at the time, who exposed us to different schools. And it really gave me a lot of insight to a lot of things that I wouldn't have been able to experience had I not been in TRIO. So TRIO is a really, really great program. If your kid is in high school, definitely check to see if there is a TRIO program available, because there are so many great things that TRIO does for students. So now, when it was time to leave high school and go to college, in my mind, y'all, I wanted to go to a prestigious school, because in high school, I was one of those people who really, really worked hard. I studied, I got good grades. Like, it was important to me to have good grades because I wanted to be able to go to any school, and, I just wanted to do well. I've always been that person. I always wanted to do well. So in my mind, I didn't want to go to just any old school. So we went and visited ECU, loved ECU. As a matter of fact, 2 of my high school friends ended up going to ECU. I told them that I was going to go to ECU, and then I just couldn't do it. I couldn't pull the plug. I couldn't do it. So I didn't go to ECU. So at the very last minute, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go to UNCG. Now, Tracy was trying to convince me to go to A&T all along, but I'm like, I'm not going to A&T. I'm not going to A&T. Everybody go to A&T. In my mind, because I was so not smart at the time. I felt like everybody who went to A&T were people who couldn't get into any other school. And boy, had I mistaken. So I apologize officially to Tracy Westbrook for downplaying A&T and sleeping on all that it had to offer and not understanding how prestigious A&T is and was at that point. Okay. I apologize. So I go so far as to enroll into UNCG, y'all. I have a UNCG shirt. Okay, I got all the things. My mama took me to UNCG and we touring, and I enrolled in UNCG. I get over to UNCG and I'm on campus with my mom, and I'm like, this ain't it. This is not it. I do not want to go to this school. I just did not, nothing was connecting for me when I went to UNCG. I didn't feel at home. I didn't feel like, it just didn't feel right. So what did I do? You guessed it. I ended up right at A&T. I went right on across the street, if you will, and went to A&T, enrolled into A&T, got my housing, got my classes, and ended up at A&T. And when I tell you that was the best decision I've ever made, it was one of the best decisions I could have made for myself. Let me tell you a little bit about A&T, okay? At A&T, now see, I'm a believer in this. I believe that every student, if they have the opportunity to go to college, they should. Not because it's the right thing to do, not because you're going to get a job, not because any of that. It's because of the experience. The college experience is by far one of the best things that I've ever done. Okay. College taught me so much. One, you had to wake up on time. Okay. If you ain't eat, it's because you didn't go eat. Drinking. You think you're gonna drink Everclear and survive? No, you're gonna die. Okay, you're gonna die. You're gonna feel like you're gonna die. Four Locos. Oh my goodness, Four Locos. I got introduced to Four Locos. Now, I'm not saying all these things are great things, y'all, but whatever. No, disclaimer here. I'm not telling anybody to go drink Four Locos. I'm simply telling you guys my experience in college. Okay. So learned a lot about being responsible in college. I learned a lot about relationships. I learned love in college. And if you feel like you fit into that category, okay, fine, whoever, but I'm not saying any names. I learned disappointment through relationships. I learned about being able to stand up on my own 2 feet and say what I want. And am I going to deal with this or am I going to deal with it? All the things in college. And y'all, let me tell you something. I gained some of the best relationships and friendships with people that I went to school with in college. And I can say this for sure. If nothing else, college gave me long-term friends and sisters that I would not have had otherwise. All right. So shout out to A&T for all the things that it is done for me. Okay. Between the times in the cab, sitting in the cab, the snow days where you just, we don't got to go to class, between, the gym jams that we had. I can't think of the gym that was called back in the day. Help me out, somebody, if you watch this video. Like so many things I experienced in college, the football games, the culture. And this is the thing in my mind, to go to a PWI, I know there's a false idea that if you go to a HBCU that you're not going to get an experience of the real world, because in the real world there's, diversity. But guess what? And in HBCU, there's also diversity. I mean, there was so many different cultures within our culture, right? You got the DMV clique with their Nike boots and their style. They always hung out together. Shout out to DMV. You had people from other countries that were there. You got people from the South. Like, it was just such a melting pot of culture, between the fashion shows. Shout out to all the fashion cliques that we had in school. We used to go to the fashion shows. It was just amazing, all the things that I was able to experience by going to an HBCU. And I do believe that, the world is diverse, and there are different people. But the one thing that I would say, if you have an opportunity to go somewhere and feel at home, allow it to nurture you and nurture your spirit, and you get grow up under the comfort of people who are like you, I say that is wonderful. I think that's absolutely amazing. So for that reason, I think HBCUs are not only a great institution of learning, but they are a great place for you to find home. And now that I'm an adult, I appreciate it even more, because when I want to go back to homecoming, I ain't got to worry about going to somebody else's homecoming. I can go to my homecoming and experience all those things all over again. And that's one thing that no one will be able to take away. So shout out to A&T, shout out to all my fellow Aggies, all the people that I met. I had some of the best roommates in college, just close, like really close friends. And shout out to Tierra, like, one of my, my last roommate in college, and just our relationship and our friendship and how we grew up together. My freshman roommate, I look back on that situation and I wish I would have handled things differently, but just such a nice person and such a cool person. I've been fortunate. I've been blessed. So that was college. Okay. Fast forward to the end of college. I know you guys have heard me share this before, but I had my daughter at 21. It was my junior year in college that I got pregnant. And I had to leave college and finish college at home. So I had my daughter when I was 21. I had just turned 21, y'all, and I was feeling fabulous. All my friends, my line sisters, they threw me a surprise 21st birthday. My mama came, my sister was there, like my niece was there. It was just like a lot of people there. They did so much over and beyond. Shout out to Amethyst, Brianna, all of y'all who put together that surprise party for me. You pulled it off. I got the pictures to this day to prove it. And if you were there, if you were there, you know. Okay, that was a party. I had a great time. And it was one that goes down in the books to this day. When we get together, we talk about the parties that I had in my apartment over there, and I think it was called Spring Place Apartments down there in Greensboro. Man, I had a roommate then. Shout out to Jen, who was my roommate, and we had an apartment together in college. Such an adult move for us to move off campus. That was pretty dope. And so, yeah, I left college in my junior year, and it was such a transition for me, because when you leave school, you are not included and you don't know what's going on and all the things are happening. So, I grew my belly and I finished my classes, finished my junior year, left and went back home to Charlotte, had my daughter in August. My classes started the following week. And y'all, I was online finishing them classes so that I can graduate on time. And I did. I graduated with honors from North Carolina A&T. I majored in liberal studies. My concentration was pre-law. I also got a minor in philosophy. Hence why I'm a talker and I'm a thinker. I love all those things. Definitely should have been a lawyer, could have been a lawyer, but it just didn't feel right for me. And I didn't want to do all the reading. So if I'm honest, I probably got too lazy towards the end to really pursue a law degree, but that was what I thought I was going to do. I thought I was going to be a lawyer. So shout out to Dr. Hornsby, who was she was mean, but she was the sweetest person in the world, but she was mean. I'm telling you, if you had Dr. Hornsby, then you know. And so I just had a really, really great experience. I had to grow up quite fast because I became a mother. And at the time, my mom was very sick. Or actually, she was in remission when I had my daughter, but prior to that, she was very sick when I was in college. I think it was my sophomore year that she was diagnosed with breast cancer. So it was just quite a bit that was going on at the time. So anyway, while I was at home, it was my senior year at home with my daughter, and Miss Tracy got engaged and got married. So she invited me to her wedding. I'm going somewhere with this, y'all. I'm going somewhere. She invited me to her wedding. And at the last minute, like literally the day of her wedding, she called me and she was like, Shanay, you need to be at my wedding. I really want you to be here. And I went out to Target and I got a picture to prove it. I'm gonna see if I can get that picture so I can show y'all what I wore to her wedding. I went to Target, I got me a dress, and I went to her wedding by myself. My mom watched my daughter, and I went to her wedding, and I was at her wedding, and I was sitting in the audience, and a couple of Forevers was on. She had really nice music on as we were waiting for the wedding to start. It was on the campus of at Winthrop in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And the bridal party starts to go down the aisle, and I see this cool guy with locks, because at the time he had locks, walking his bridesmaid, assigned bridesmaid down the aisle. Okay. And I was like, oh, he looks cool. I've always liked bigger guys. I've always liked guys that just were like really, really cool. Okay. That's just my jam. Love a cool guy. So I saw him there. And so at the reception, the bridal party got called out. You know how they called a bridal party out and they have a song. So of course they picked Biggie for him. So he came out, him and his assigned bridesmaid, they came out and they danced to Biggie. And I just thought that was so dope because he could dance. He could really, really dance. Yeah, I can tell I'm excited. Okay. So he was like dancing and everybody knew him, and he was just so like cool and popular, and and here I am, I'm like a high school girl, like, oh my God, he's so popular, and just really, really cool guy. So I see Tracy at the reception. I'm like, who is that guy? And she was like, who, Pringle? And I'm like, who? She was like, Pringle? His name is Pringle. He is so cool, Shanay. Oh my God, everybody loves him. My parents love him. Everybody loves him, Shanay. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna introduce you. I was like, wait, Tracy, no. Oh my God. Because y'all, I'm young. I'm younger. Like, I'm probably about 7 years younger than Tracy. And I'm 5 years younger than my husband. So she was like, Shanay, no, stop acting like that. Shanay, stop. You come on, you need to get it together because I'm going to introduce you, because that's how Tracy was. Okay. She was like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. And so I had to like calm down and get mature, get like really, really like, okay, I'm an adult. Because she knew me as like a little girl. So I have to be an adult. She brings him over because, first of all, before I go that far, during the reception, I kept making eye contact with him, and he saw me, and I would catch him looking at me, and he looking at me, I'm looking at him. I see him seeing me, he see me, blah, 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 and he don't make no move. So it's because of me asking Tracy. So she brings him over to me. Now, his story, before I go on, is that Tracy went up to him, was like, I got somebody I want to introduce you to. And he was like, oh man, he was nervous because he didn't know if Tracy was going to introduce him to a big girl, because a lot of people assume that because he's a big guy, he liked big girls. And he was hoping that Tracy wouldn't introduce him to somebody that was hurting, in his words, hurting. So she brings him over to me, and she's like, okay, y'all talk. And so I'm just like, y'all can't, if you can't see me, I'm just like looking like, okay. So he introduced himself. He was like, hey, what's your name? I was like, I'm Shanay. And I was like, your name? He was like, I'm Pringle. And I'm like, what? He was like, Pringle, like the chips. And I'm like, that's your name? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. And so we exchanged numbers. He probably made me laugh. My husband is super, super funny. We exchanged numbers and, whatever. So my husband, my now husband, he texted me that night and asked me if I wanted to come with him to his frat brother's house. And I'm like, no, I don't even know you like that. I did not want to go. So we didn't talk for a year. A whole year passed by. I ended up getting a boyfriend who he was not. My mama was like, Shanay, that is not the one for you. Went through all these different things, got a job, started my career at this job, and I got a boyfriend and all of these things. And then a year later, my husband reaches out to me after a month of me breaking up with my long-term boyfriend. I think I had been dating him for like 8 months at the time. So it was perfect timing. My husband texted me, we started talking, and we never stopped talking from that day. Okay, so that's the dating and how I met my husband. Okay, my career. So a lot of times people ask me about my career, and I accidentally fell into the career that I'm in. I actually work in biotech. So I work for a biotechnology company, and I got my start because one of my friends, her sister-in-law was working at this company, and she came to my daughter's birthday party, and I told her, I was like, I'm looking for a job. And she was like, you should apply to the job I work at. And I was like, oh, okay. So shout out to all the people who worked at Lash. I met a lot of great people at Lash. As a matter of fact, y'all know my sister, LaRonda. I met her at Lash, and we are like best friends. She's like a sister to me. So shout out to all the people I met at Lash. Met quite a few of you who follow me, and we follow each other actually on from Lash. So Jewel, shout out to Jewel, shout out to Quaisha. And if I'm missing somebody, just charge it. Oh, Ashley, my girl Ashley, shout out to Ashley. Met some really great people at Lash, and I learned how to become a professional by working at Lash. So Lash was a start for me. It was a pharmaceutical consulting company, and there I got a lot of experience in my career and learning about different pharmaceutical drugs, so different therapies. So at the time, I think I supported MS. So multiple sclerosis was the drug that I helped to support at the time. And I did that for over 5 years. Shout out to Lucy. Lucy was my manager there. And she was the one who helped me see that there was more for me. Okay. So without her pushing me and her even stepping outside the box, I wouldn't have been exposed to more, and I wouldn't have furthered my career in this space in biotech. So shout out to Lucy. She's a dope manager. I know I was a pain in the butt at first, Lucy. I was terrible, y'all. I was immature. I didn't understand, authority at the time. And Lucy quickly became a mentor. And to this day, just dope individual. She'll do anything to help you. And she is a Delta, but she is my sister. Okay, she's still my sister. So shout out to Lucy. But stayed in this space, stayed in the biotech space, and was offered an opportunity to join our sister company, which was Exenda at the time. And that's where I really learned about what I do now. So as a manager, I support various therapies, over 21 different therapies. So that's from respiratory to oncology, a lot of oncology drugs. So hematology, breast cancer, lung cancer, like I said, respiratory. So like your people who have like severe allergies, things like that. I support over 20 to this day, now present day, I support several different therapies and several different drugs. So my job is to go to different hospitals, go to different providers' offices, go to different oncology practices, and make sure that their patients have access to therapy. And part of my job, I spend a lot of time educating providers on insurance and how to make sure that they overcome insurance barriers. So a lot of times you might hear like, I can't get on this drug, it's too expensive. My job is to make sure that you have all the options to have an affordable, to be able to afford the medication that you have been prescribed. So I really have a very fulfilling job, and I do enjoy what I do. I love making impact. I do a lot of presentations, things like that. And I do travel. So you guys probably wonder, like, why are you always traveling? Why you're always somewhere? It's because of my job. My job requires that I travel to different cities and sometimes to different states. So that is my career, and that's what I do. And I've been doing it now almost 10 years. And I have been thankful and fortunate and blessed enough to be able to experience the growth in this career. So I'm very, very thankful for that. Being a mom. Okay. So I am a mom of 3. When I got married, I had my daughter. I told you guys I had her in college, met my husband. He didn't have any children. During our engagement, found out I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant at work, and that's a story for another day. I remember taking that pregnancy test on my lunch break. I think Rhonda was driving at the time. Met Jewel downstairs, and I was a mess. I was crying. I was just so like in shock that I was pregnant, because my mom was so sick at the time, and here I am about to get married, and I got pregnant, and I don't know what I'm gonna do, and all the things that you worry about, which you don't even have no business worrying about because it always works out. Okay. So that was me so in 2021, I had my son during the pandemic. I had a pandemic baby. We thought we were done at 2, but then pandemic came and we had Chance. So I am now a mom of 3. And I'm going to tell you something, y'all. If you are a mom, I want to give you the utmost kudos, and you deserve an award, and you are the real MVP. If you are a mom who works, you are the real MVP. If you are a mom who stays at home, you are the real MVP, because being a mom is probably by far the most rewarding, yet very challenging job there is on earth. So what I'm learning is every day I'm learning. I am not a master at anything. I'm a master of none. And I think that we have to take the pressure off ourselves, and just allow ourselves to grow and learn as parents, because our kids teach us new things every day. I also want to extend grace to my mom. God rest her soul. I feel like I was super critical about the things that she did or did not do. And she couldn't do this, and I couldn't go here, and I couldn't go there. And why can't I have a car? And, why did you pick this person? And, all the things. And then now I'm an adult, and it's not that simple. So I'm super, super honored and super blessed and super fortunate to have connected with so many of you all. And I thank you so much for following my content, watching me grow and supporting me, reposting my videos, and, sharing different comments. If I ask for suggestions, you give it to me. Like, y'all are super dope, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you for sticking in there with me. I have so many great things that I'm looking forward to this year, and I'm so happy to have you guys along for the ride. Before I end this video, I would be remiss if I did not mention the Pink Soiree that is coming up in April 27th to be exact, here in Charleston, South Carolina. It is not too late to get your ticket. As a matter of fact, I urge you to get your ticket early, because lots of people are getting them tickets, okay? And right now we have the early bird deal, which is $15. So come be a part of that. It is April 27th from 12:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. here in Charleston, South Carolina. If you want to learn more, go to my website, www.elephantbyshanay.com.
Time is of the essence. I try to teach you, but I need some lessons.